All right, guys, thanks for coming. I'm Jim Bounds at Co-op Motor Works and Motorhome Rehab Ranch on Patreon. Any chance? Today, screens and window tint. First, the screens. Everybody has a screen or where to put them or something like this, and they probably look like this, you know, pretty rough. Now, this screen is out of an early style motorhome. How do I know that? Because it used to have little plastic grab doodles here, little things up the top, that when you go to put this in, this screen was on the driver's side, passenger side. You put it in there, you push it up, it squeezes those grabbers and you put it in the bottom and it sits there. These grabbers push back down and that's what holds it in place. Now, if your screen's in good shape and it's an early style screen like this, they make little aluminum or stainless steel spring things. A screen shop will have those. You can modify something to go in there. It's a 1/4 inch thick, okay? So if you have that, you can rebuild that. And to rescreen it, it's just like any other screen in the world. It's a smaller diameter screen track to go in here. And you just run the bead in there and you build that. Now on the later models, like 76 and after, we're blessed with no screen doodles. Now let me show you something. These screens are not the same shape. Check this out. You say, well, they're just about the same, but they're not just totally the same. So an early style screen will not go in a late style window, okay? It's the curve, it won't fit. Now, some of them will. Some people have forced it and made it work. So I'm not saying you can't, but there's a better way. Bear with me. All right, so the late style, the way it works is there's a fixed track at the top and the bottom this thing slides in. Well, if you look carefully, the top track is broken in half. So you slide it back, you take out that single track for the screen, and move the track right back where it was, and that'll go up and it comes out. Put it back in, slide it over, put the piece of track in, Bob's your uncle, it works. All right, so it goes on here just the same as everything else. Okay. What happens when there aren't any screens in your motorhome? I don't know, somebody took them. Middle of the night, somebody took your screens. What are you going to do? Well, here's an option, okay? These coaches are getting more and more where you may have to make things, right? So back in the middle 90s, Explorer vans built the Explorer 2 coach. And their idea was it was going to be a brand new motorhome. Well, brand new is kind of relative, but they tried their best. And in the day, Explorer vans, van conversions, they're good people. Brian Wallen was his name, I believe. Well, they didn't want to rebuild or restore these screens and all this, so what they did, you can write this down, ranch hands, get a piece of 1/4 inch thick ABS plastic. I'd prefer black. And I'd prefer one side to be smooth, one side to be ripple. This size. So you cut the piece of ABS out on the outside. Outside dimensions are correct. Now on the inside, cut out the inside. Leave about 2 inches on this side and this side. That way it will have the springiness it's going to need to bend a little bit. And then make the sides, the vertical pieces, like I said, a little wider, about 2 inches, and make the top piece about twice the thickness that it is. The inside will be out. Okay, so you've made a plastic screen frame. Now, take some screen, lay this down on a table, lay the screen over it, tie the screen down real tight, then take, fancy word is a thermoplastic welder. You could also use a solder gun. And what you're going to do is you're going to melt the screen right to that plastic trim that you made, cut off the extra, You have a screen. Now this will work in the early or the late models. Again, a piece of 1/4-inch ABS. The reason I say black is because you're going to burn it, and it's going to look a little nasty, maybe. You're going to be good at it, get good at it. Then you're going to cut it, so that'll be, but see, that'll be on the inside, or the part you won't see. On the inside of the coach, it'll look, you know, like this, a little wider here, a little bit wider here, to give it the strength, because ABS isn't the same as aluminum, of course. But you'll have a sliding screen. You can sand the bottom and the top to get it nice and smooth. If you want it to lock in, you can put a little piece of Velcro at the end or anything like that. All right, so we need screens. Here in Florida, you know, I found the best way to not have to worry about screens or anything. And see, I want the mosquitoes to come in. Go to Harbor Freight and get one of those yellow electric fly swatters. Dude, it's a passion. It's a sport. I'm going to always have one of those with me, hoping that I can capture some mosquitoes and whack them and make them spark. If you're not into that, put some screens on. And also, Ragusa Pattern Company makes a screen door. I'd get it with the black frame. All right. Talking about windows some more. It was an epiphany when they put in thermal glass at my beach house. I mean, the heat. I thought that those Jousty windows were kind of cool, you know. To get the heat off those windows was unbelievable. And today, you buy RVs, they'll have thermal panes on the side and things like this. Well, our glass is not. It's a regular 1/4-inch glass, side windows, everything. Window tint. Back in the 80s, I had a series of window tint shops because that was the hot thing. And absolutely in Florida, it was the big deal. To be able to block that heat out made it possible to live here without the air conditioner on high 24/7, you know, summer. Window tint is a big thing. And our GMC has all said, well, look at all the window space. Look at all the space we have. Well, yeah, along with that space, the heat goes out, the heat comes in, cold goes, it's a bad thing, okay? This coach right here I'm very proud of. This has, it's called Lumar Air 80, clear, DOT approved, windshield tint, okay? If you look at the specifications, Lumar Air 80, you'll see that its heat rejection is stupid. I don't know how they can put a piece of cellophane on there and block heat. It has to do with reflection. The stuff has ceramic particles in it, and it will reject the heat. It'll reflect it off. This Air 80 film is so flexible. Back in the day when I was doing it, if you're going to do a curved window, you did it in sections. Okay, a piece, you know. And I got real good at doing, they're called butt seams, where you cut it so perfect that you would hardly see it. Overlap seams were stronger, okay. I showed a guy a tent job I did. He was a tinter. He goes, oh, that's old school, man. I'm not sure what he was talking about, but what he was talking about is window tint doesn't do that now. They've made it with stretches. It's flexible. This stuff today will stretch one piece over here. Now, is it easy? No. Can you do it at home? My guess is no. You'd have to do it. It's kind of like bowling. You got to do it a bunch to get good at it. And I tried this window, and I did it. And the thing that I learned was I'd rather pay somebody else to do it, okay? You're not going to save any money because it's going to cost you more film, and that piece of film is expensive. You find a tinter that will put on Air 80 Lumar, pay him what he asks, charge him to do a quality job because that's what he's supposed to do. This is one of the single best things you can do for your motorhome. Now on the side windows, let's talk about window tint for a second. Back in the 70s and 80s, everybody wanted that limo tint. Thought that was the coolest, you know, nobody could see in and all this. Well, you can't see out either. There's no traffic lights or street lights at night. It's hard to see in AT5. In other words, it allows in 5% of the light, perceived light. That's AT5, that's limo tint. And you know, it's just one step lower than just spray painting the window, okay? And you look through it, everything looks fuzzy, hazy. So even though somebody would say, well, I want that quality tint, I want that dark stuff, the quality tint and the dark stuff do not mean the same, okay? Today, window film uses reflection. See, that AT5 or the dark window film uses absorption. Heat comes in, it blocks it, it absorbs it and doesn't let it go through. But the problem with absorption is the glass gets hot, okay? So then it radiates. So in our environment, what we want is a film that reflects off the heat. So in the early days, the first stuff was called titanium film. I'm not sure if it really was or not. Metallized film was a new category of films that used reflection. And you could get a lot of heat rejection by reflecting off the heat. Back then, reflective films, you know, they had a blue tint to them, they had different colors to them, but they were trying to reflect off. Those are the films we want to use. We don't necessarily want a filter film. Our side windows, except for the front windows, have what's called a 35% shade to them. In other words, it allows through 35% of the light. You don't really notice it, but it's enough to knock the heat out where the thing won't blow up. You don't need any more darkness per se, because if you get 35%, which was what normally they would call light smoke, or 20% would be a standardized like a dark smoke. Now they've gone back and forth, 25, 28. Basically, 20% is dark film, 35% is light film, and the 5% or some derivative would be the black stuff. If you got just light film, 35% film, with a reflective property in it, not the filter film. So when you go to a tinter, you say, I'd like to have a reflective style film. The newest stuff is ceramic film. It's said that if you have the metallized film, it stops your cell phone from working. Well, it won't stop it, but it might make it a little less. So maybe the prevailing thing is to get a ceramic reflective film in a light color, light smoke or light whatever they want to call it. You want to have a scratch resistant, they call it scratch film. It has an outside layer that's a little harder, so it will scratch less, you know, like your glasses. They say it's not scratch proof, but it'll scratch less. That costs like $60 or something. You want to get a scratch resistant layer on the film. When you see a tinter, it may be $1,000, but trust me, easily worth $1,500. It's worth twice that much to block the heat from getting into you. It's worth easily that much. Now, if you did an infrared camera on your motorhome, you'd see exactly what I mean. The tinter is going to want to do it in the coach. You don't want to bring in the windows and have them tinted, or the glass. The reason is, think about this a minute. We live in a fishbowl of dust. It's everywhere. So if you take a piece of glass that you're going to put tint on and you lay it down and clean it all up, and you go over here to get things ready, the entire time, all of that dust is falling on that piece of glass. So he does it real quick, and he comes over to come to it, and there's dust on it. Puts it on, now there's dust in the window. Never want to do that. The glass that's going to have the film needs to be in a vertical position, if not tilted back a little bit, so as those 30 seconds or a minute of dust that's falling, and also the glass gets a static charge, so it's attracting dust. So the glass needs to be in a vertical position. It needs to be wet. That cancels out the static until the dude can get the film on it without dust in it. All right? That should be the way he wants to do it. That's the right way to do it. Okay? And let him do his job. Yeah, he's going to get a little bit of wet inside. Towels clean up wet. So bring a whole bunch of old towels, throw them under each window, and let him do his thing. And for God's sakes, don't stand right on the other side of the glass looking at little things while he's doing the work. That's like watching Picasso on the back side of the Mona Lisa, and he's over there dabbing at it. Don't do that. One, it drives him crazy. But two, window tint is an art form. at some level there will be a piece of dust because we live in a dust bowl. Okay, it is. A quality tint job is one that you stand back, you look at it, the edges are nice and clean, there's no creases in it, and you don't see any apparent dirt or dust or anything in it. If you get close enough, you will see something. Again, an art form. How good is he with his Picasso or Mona Lisa? Okay? And buy him a pizza. If it looks good, you can stand back 5 feet. It looks good, no creases, the seams are nice, and buy him a pizza because that's an art form. And that man, he may be great because he'll never be a tinter forever. If he's that good, he's going to find something else to make more money. Okay? So window tint's a good thing. Having screens is a good thing, you know. I use one of those, you know, those magnetic middle screen door things you can get for $5 at Save a Lot. I put one of those at my door. Of course, we're in Florida, you know, they follow you in. And that seems to work pretty good. They're pretty nice. I mean, you got to kind of spend a little time to make it look good. But, all right, well, this is from some questions that you guys ask. I hope this answers them. If you have any other specific things or you're looking at something that doesn't quite understand or whatever, give me a call. If the windows are just too messed up, make some new ones, man. Get good at it. You're going to mess one up. That's cool. Mess it up, figure out how to do it, make 6 of them, booyah. All right. If you're on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. Okay. If you're a Patreon, you should be on YouTube, hitting like and subscribe. I appreciate you being with Patreon. You'll be getting notices, definitely the first of the year and on, about special things for ranch hands. Our communication, we feel, is really important, and it's gotten us to the point now that next year is going to be a big deal with us. That's 2023 for somebody that looks at this at 2030. Okay. Well, look, thank you again for your support, for being here, for your time, and get involved. GMCs are cool. See ya.